The teacher as a school culture catalyst. So the school becomes the second home of the learners. This would only mean that part of their lives is being honed by the teachers. Therefore, the role of the teacher is very significant because they are the school culture catalyst. You will find out in this module what it means when we say school culture catalyst. So at the end of this module, you should be able to discuss the concepts that influence school organization as a part of a larger organization in response to community context. Describe various functions and roles of various members of the school community based on policies and procedures to foster harmonious working relationships. Explain concepts in school culture and climate, and describe what is the school culture in the Tibet system and how it responds to change. First topic, structure in schools. The first is the classical Weberian bureau. So Weber's model for bureaucracy. What is a bureaucracy? It is a specific form of organization defined by complexity, division of labor, permanence, professional management, hierarchical coordination, and control, strict chain of command, and legal authority. So this only means that when we speak of bureaucracy, this pertains to the stated rules and policies that is needed to be followed by everyone. So take note of the word hierarchical coordination and control, strict chain of command. So when we say hierarchical coordination, that means to say there is this organizational structure. There is this someone in authority who have the power to tell you what to do. But of course, even this person who is in authority also follows what is being written in their rules of the organization. So that's why we made mention here of the legal authority. Okay? In its ideal form, bureaucracy is impersonal and rational. So take note of the word impersonal and rational. So in bureaucracy, it doesn't exempt someone because you are a relative, because you are a friend. No. When we speak of being impersonal, no matter how close you are to that person, if that person is not following the rules and policies of the organization, then that person must be reprimanded. So because it is impersonal and rational, what is important in bureaucracy is everyone should follow the rules and regulation that is stated in their organization. So, and it is based on rules rather than ties of kinship, friendship, or patrimonial or charismatic authority. So another definition, bureaucratic organization can be found in both public and private institutions. So Weber's ideal bureaucracy is characterized by the following. First, hierarchical organization. Second, delineated lines of authority with fixed areas of activity. But first, again, what is this hierarchical organization? Hierarchical organization means there is this chain of command structure who are in authority of doing a particular task. delineated lines of authority with fixed areas of activities. What do we mean by this is they those persons who have the power, or those persons who are in authority or who are in the position, are have tasks to be done, have this expertise. Okay? Action taken on the basis of unrecorded in written rules. So everyone, not just those who are in authority, but also those the subordinates, everyone in the organization need to base all of their actions according to the written rules. Bureaucratic officials with expert training. So we can relate this to number three characteristic. I mean number two characteristic, that the delineated lines of authority with fixed areas of activity. So in bureaucracy, officials have expertise. Okay? So rules implemented by neutral officials. In career advancement, depending on technical qualifications judged by organization, not individuals. So there is a team that will going to study or going to review the the background of everyone in the organization. They'll be the one to tell you what you should pursue for professional growth, because again, bureaucracy is rigid, that is impersonal. It should be based on what is written in their organization, the laws. Okay, so Weber's model for bureaucracy, we have here the key points. Weber listed several preconditions for the emergence of bureaucracy: the growth and size of the population being administered, the growth and complexity of the administrative tasks being carried out, and the existence of a monetary economy requiring a more efficient administrative system. Weber identified in bureaucracies a rational legal authority in which legitimacy is seen as coming from a legal order and the laws enacted within it. This is constructed with traditional forms of authority which arose from phenomena like kinship. Rationalization describes a transition in society wherein traditional motivators of behavior, like values, beliefs, and emotions, are replaced with rational calculations. Weber termed the increasing rationalization in Western societies an iron cage that traps individuals in system based solely on efficiency, rational calculations, and control. Because if we are going to go to look back, the definition of bureaucracy, that is based on the stated rules of their organization. So that's why it is said here that it's like an iron cage that traps individuals in system, because it is bureaucracy is impersonal. It doesn't exempt if those who are close to someone who are in authority. The important is everyone should follow what is written. Okay, so Weber's model for bureaucracy, key terms, again, rational legal authority, a form of leadership in which the authority of an organization or a ruling regime is largely tied to legal rationality, legal legitimacy, and bureaucracy. So this means to say that this someone in authority is very dependent to the rules and policies of the organizations that all of their actions must be based on the recorded terms, recorded rules and policies. Ideal type, this means that an ideal type is not a particular person or thing that exists in the world, but an extreme form of a concept used by sociologists in theories. For example, although there is not a perfectly modern society, the term modern is used as an ideal type in certain theories to make large-scale points. So again, when we speak of an ideal type, it refer particularly to the concept used. Like for example, here the given is modern. So again, modern society. So this means to say that when we say modern, that pertains now to a large scale point. Because of course, when we say modern, it refers to diversity, different different things that we have today. So unlike when we just say traditional is just simply things in the past. But in modern, that means to say that these things in the past has been developed, has been improved. So that is the modern. So the concept here for modern is used in a large scale points. So Iron Cage, a theory proposed by Max Weber, which argues that rationalization and rules trap humans in figurative cage thought based on rational calculations because again in bureaucracy they are dependent on the recorded rules and policies that even if someone has a good idea to to share to everyone, but since in the organization it is stated that, like, this is just an example, okay, so like for example one of the rules there is only those who are in authority can tell you what to do, and the subordinate should just be the one to implement and follow what has been said by this person who is in authority. Okay, so this is just an example. So that's why cage, because rules traps humans in a figurative cage. Because the important is to follow those commands or policies that is written in their organization. Okay, so number two, Hall's organizational inventory. So this was developed by Richard Hall, 1963. It measured the various characteristics of the bureaucracy. So we have here 6 categories in a bureaucracy. First is hierarchy of inventory. Number 2 is specialization. Again, the first is hierarchy of inventory because there is this structure, chain of command, chain of not just let's say command, but chain of positions of those persons who are in authority. These persons are the one who will tell you what to do. Specialization, because officials are being put in that position because they are expert in a particular thing. Rules, because the organization is dependent, all of the actions are dependent on the rules. Impersonality, because again, the important is following what is being stated in the rule, in their book of procedures. that even if you are a relative of the or even if you are the son of the CEO or the son of the owner of the school, there is the same personality that you will not be excused in following the rules and policies. Procedural specifications, because again all actions must be based on the recorded procedures. And technical competencies, because again everyone are being put in a position in which they are expert in that field, not because you are a relative or a friend, but because that is based on the review of the particular committee. You should have this particular growth when it comes to your profession. Okay? So the inventory provides information on areas related to control, how previous experiences impacts decisions, how rules are followed and enforced, and to what extent the school is departmentalized. Research associated with school organization inventory has generally concluded that schools follow some organization combination of professionalization and bureaucratization. Formalization of structure by Hoy and Switzerland. The formalization. So formalization, it refers to the management of an organization through written rules, regulations, and procedures. So when we say formal, meaning to say it is written, there are rules to be followed. There is this black and white. Okay, it is written. Okay, so Heinz Wheatland divided the formalization into two aspects, the coercive and enabling. So what is this coercive nature of bureaucratic culture? Structure is associated with bureaucratic rules, procedures, and regulations which restrict employee autonomy by forcing them to display compliance behaviors and punishing those who do not comply. Okay, so meaning to say, here in coercive kind of structure, this is very rigid that once the employee, this is very strict that once the employee cannot or was not able to follow the rules and policies, there is a punishment. Okay? Hoy stated that there is this, again, punishment, and there is real expect that your action will have a corresponding bad consequence. Hoy stated that the dominance of coercive rules and procedures in bureaucratic organizations could have a negative impact on collaboration, motivation, communication, and organizational trust. Yes, this is true because, of course, this are already these persons are already old enough, and if they will be punished, even if they tried to work hard, and they will be punished at the end of the day after doing all of their best, then it really will demerit their pride and it will also lead for their motivation to there will no more motivation, and they won't trust anymore the organization, because instead of appreciating what they did, or just simply tell them that next time, okay, this is the thing, instead of supporting them, instead of motivating them that next time this is the right thing that you should do. So it will ju- it will just make their it will just lead for them to have a bad day because, again, at the end of the day, after all of the effort, they will be punished because they were not able to comply. Okay? So, therefore, it is safe to argue that organization rules and coercive formalization reinforce employee compliance behavior, punish those who do not abide by the rules, and closely control employee behavior. So, in this kind of structure, again, everything in coercive, everyone should follow rules and policies, should comply because if they cannot comply, then there will be punishment. Okay, so based on Holland's Sweetland article, Designing Better Schools, the meaning and measure of enabling school structure, published in Surge. Okay, so centralization in bureaucratic organizations refer to how organizational decisions are made and to what degree employees have say in decision-making processes. While only senior executives participate in decision-making processes in organizations with intense centralization, in less centralized organizations, organizational decisions are more participatory and the responsibility for such decisions is shared. So, in a centralized kind of structure, all decisions are from someone who is in authority. Okay, so that's why it is said here, it was mentioned here that only senior executives participate in decision-making processes. But in a less centralized organization, so there is this shared responsibility. So meaning there is this participation of those people that even if they are not someone in authority or people who are not in a position. There are two types of centralization in bureaucratic organization, the hindering and enabling. So hindering centralization refers to an organizational structure where innovative employee behavior is hindered. Administrators control the employee behavior to ensure discipline, uncertainty, and difference are not accepted, and compliance behaviors are in the foreground. So, in hindering centralization, this only means that individual differences is not accepted. Once you are in that school, you need, since you accepted, this is just an example, since you accepted the work, the responsibilities in that school, so individual differences of the employees are neglected. Instead, since you were able to become part of that institution, so therefore you should follow all of the rules inside. Okay, so enabling centralization is characterized by an organizational administration which provides employees with the autonomy they need, an organizational management which assists employees solve problems and conflicts, and employees who participate in decision-making processes and effective collaborate and cooperate with their colleagues. So now maybe you are now asking, what is the difference between this enabling centralization to decentralization? Is this something like the decentralization, which is a horizontal kind of structure? The answer is yes, but there is this but. What is this but? The but here is, yes, in some way they're the same, but the but here is even if everyone are allowed to participate when it comes to decision making, but the but here is there is still rules and policies to be observed. Okay? So, means birds coordinating mechanisms of structure. So, Henry Mintzberg suggests that organizations can be differentiated along three basic dimensions. So, number one, so we're talking here of the organization. Okay, so three basic dimensions. One is the key part of the organization. That is the part of the organization that plays the major role in determining its success or failure. So this is the part of the organization that is in charge of checking, evaluation, assessment of the actions done by the individuals who are part of the organization, if what they did is a success or a failure. So number two, the prime coordinating mechanism, that is the major method the organization uses to coordinate its activities. So in this dimension, so the main concern here is during the implementation of the actions. So this is more of monitoring and of course to coordinate. Okay, so then the third basic dimension, the type of decentralization used, that is the extent to which the organization involves subordinates in the decision making process. So in this dimension, we have now here the decentralization, in which everyone is allowed to share their ideas, to contribute something in the organization. So this is more of participating for the success of the organization. So this is not vertical but horizontal. So the key parts of an organization, the strategic aspects is staff management and its support staff. In school districts, this is the superintendent of schools and the administrative cabinet. So that is the strategic apex. The operative core are the workers who actually carry out the organization's tasks. Teachers constitute the operative core in the school districts because teachers are the one who are implementing what is needed to be done in that institution. The middle line is middle and lower level management. Principals are the middle level managers in school districts, while those who are in the top management, like the superintendent, that is the strategic apex. So the technostructure are analysts such as engineers, accountants, plumbers, researchers, and personnel managers in school district divisions such as instruction, business, personnel, public relations, research, and development, the like constitute the technostructure. So usually these are the information technology people. Okay, so the support staff are the people who provide indirect services. In school districts, similar services include maintenance, clerical, food service, busing, legal counsel, and consulting to provide support. Okay, so the key parts again, the key parts of of an organization, like for example here, the University of Eastern Philippines, the operative core, first the strategic office, who are this, these are the the persons who are in the top management, like the president, the VPs, okay? Whereas the operative core, these are the teachers, the professors, the middle line, these are the deans, the principals, the technostructures, these are the one who are designing the buildings of the school. Um, these are the people that are assigned in the registrar, and especially these are the persons who are assigned in information technology. Okay, so the support staff example in the school are the janitors, the clerks, the librarian. Okay. So the second basic dimension of an organization is its prime coordinating mechanism. This includes the following. Direct supervision means that one individual is responsible of the work of others. This concept refers the unity of command and scalar principle. So direct supervision means that he is assigned to check or to monitor if the other people are also doing their job. So next is standardization of work process exists when the content of work is specified or programmed in school districts. This refers to job descriptions that govern the work performance of educators. So there's this instant standardization. So this pertains now to the responsibilities job description. What is the title of your job? Then what is the description? What is the job description and how it should be done? Okay. Standardization skills exist when the kind of training necessary to do the work is specified. In school systems, this refers to state certificates required for the various occupants of a school district's hierarchy. So standardization of skills, so meaning to say verticalization. So if you are a graduate of industrial arts, or you should be handling industrial arts subject. If you are from home economics, then if you graduated from home economics, then expect that since that is your field of expertise, so that will be your subject should be aligned to that. Okay, if you are from AFA, so same goes with AFA. And if that is your major, like for example, your major is AFA, then for the standardization of skills, another is you should attend webinars, meetings, conferences that relates to that course. Okay, so standardization of output exists when the results of the work are specified because the raw material that is processed by the operative core consists of people, the students, not things. Standardization of output is more difficult to measure in schools than in other non-service organizations. Nevertheless, a movement toward the standardization of output in schools in recent years has occurred. So what do we mean by this is it for the standardization of output, the one who is responsible of course are the teachers, and the teachers have this goal every day or aim for their students and every learning experiences that this goals must be achieved by the students. That if the students couldn't achieve these goals, then there is this thing like the teacher factor. What did the teacher do that the students was not able to achieve the target for that learning experience? Okay, so examples include competency testing, of teachers, state-mandated testing of students, state-mandated curricula, prerequisite learning objectives, and other efforts toward legislated learning. So mutual adjustment exists when work is coordinated through informal communication, mutual adjustment, or coordinations, the major thrust of Likert linking in concept. So we have the so-called mutual adjustment that of course we are all just humans. There are really times that there is no such thing as this formalization. It's not every day. It's not all of our actions should be done according to what is written because of course there are some circumstances in which actions are sometimes not according to what is in the book. It depends on the situation. So there is this mutual adjustment. This is done through informal communication. So the third basic dimension of an organization is the type of decentralization it employs. The three types of decentralizations are the following. Okay, so please do not be confused with centralization. Please do not forget centralization and decentralization. Centralization is very rigid because it follows rules and policies. There is someone in authority. In centralization, it is very strict in following the rules and regulations. In centralization, subordinates are not allowed to participate when it comes to decision making. So again, humans are trapped in a cage because of the different rules and policies. Whereas in decentralization, it's flexible. It is it is done according to the comfort of everyone. And in decentralization, everyone is allowed to participate if they have something to share. Okay, so vertical decentralization is the distribution of power down the chain of command or shared authority between superordinates and subordinates in any organization. So horizontal decentralization extend to which non-administrators make decisions or shared authority between line and staff. So what's the difference between vertical decentralization and horizontal decentralization? In vertical decentralization, although there are people who are in the position, they can go down or vice versa. Those in the lower position can go up to share their power. Okay? So in horizontal decentralization, everyone can make decisions. It's horizontal. It's shared authority between line and staff. Selective decentralization is the extent to which decision-making power is delegated to different units within the organization. School districts, these units might include instruction, business, personnel, public relations, and research and development divisions. So the simple structure has its key part. The strategic apex uses direct supervision and employs vertical and horizontal centralization. So example of simple structures are relatively small corporations, new government departments, medium-sized retail stores, and small elementary school. So machines bureaucracy is the technostructure as its key part, uses standardization of work processes as its prime coordinating mechanism, and employs limited horizontal decentralization. Examples of machine bureaucracy are automobile manufacturers, steel companies, and large government organizations. Professional bureaucracy has the operating core as its key part, uses standardization of skills as its prime coordinating mechanism, and employs vertical and horizontal decentralization. Examples of this form of organization include universities, hospitals, and large law firms. The divisionalized form as the middle line is its key part, uses standardization of output as its prime coordinating mechanism, and employs limited vertical decentralization. Decision-making is decentralized. At the division level, large corporations are likely to adopt the divisionalized form. The advocacy as the support staff as its key part, uses mutual adjustment as a means of coordination, and maintains selective patterns of decentralization. The structure tends to be low in formalization and decentralization. Examples of advocacies includes aerospace and electronic industries, research and development firms, and very innovative school districts. So you will see here there are 5 organizational structures of Mintzberg. We have the simple structure, machine bureaucracy, professional bureaucracy, divisionalized form, and then the advocacy. So in simple structure, it's direct supervision, strategic apex, the key part. These are in the top management type of decentralization, vertical and horizontal centralization. Machine bureaucracy, standardization of work processes, technostructure, limited horizontal decentralization. Okay, why limited horizontal decentralization for machine bureaucracy? Because it is more of being firm when it comes to the procedures, because this is more of techno structure. So they need, like for example in information technology, there's this, they need really to follow the program for them to be able to achieve their goal. So professional bureaucracy, standardization of skills, operating core, the teachers. So vertical and horizontal decentralization. So divisionalized form, standardization of outputs. Middle line, limited vertical decentralization. So why limited vertical decentralization for the standardization of outputs? So because if it is total vertical, then what will happen is, if the principal are very strict, then what will happen is the teachers will lack this motivational thing, so they cannot trust their principal anymore because they're being reprimanded all the time. So why also limited decentralization? Because if the principal is very kind to the teacher, then there are really times where you cannot avoid that they will be abused, and if they are being abused, how can they implement the policies? So another example for here why limited horizontal decentralization for the technical structure is because they need to follow uniformity. There is a procedure to be followed, because if they're not going to follow certain procedure, then what will happen is the the goal will not be achieved, because this is more procedural. So why also limited horizontal decentralization in techno structure is because some of the workers may have knowledge on doing something, so they can share their expertise in doing particular work in different department. Okay, so advocacy, mutual adjustment. So these are the support staff, selective, decentralization. So of course, we really cannot avoid the fact that in support staff, some of them are not graduates. So some of their understanding is not that cannot some of their understanding cannot be trusted that much. So of course, so that's why it's selective centralization.